He's back. Julio Jones put the rumors to rest. He showed up to Flowery Branch fired up with a slightly restructured contract. And Dan Quinn is entering year 4 through 3 seasons. He's 29-19. That's the best winning percentage for any Falcons coach to complete a full year. He and Thomas Dimitroff got 3-year extensions this summer. Atlanta is 30 minutes from kicking off the preseason against the New York Jets. But first, ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2018 Falcons Preseason Special.
WALB News 10 Sports presents the Falcons Preseason Special.
Wave the flags, pump the foam fingers, get ready and get pumped. It's time to rise up. South Georgia, let's talk Falcons. Now, I would do the Dirty Bird, but I don't have the space nor the rhythm. What I do have is the breakdown on your Atlanta Falcons. We took the journey up to Flowery Branch several times for training camp. We spoke with Dan Quinn. Can you believe it's already his 4th season? Seems like just yesterday he was the new kid on the block. The Falcons went 10-6 last year. They finished 3rd in the division, but still made the postseason and took the Rams out in the wild card round. But that's in the rear view. So let's get right into the biggest story looming over camp this year, and that was with this guy, Julio Jones. He missed all of the season, or at least the offseason workouts, and Jones reportedly wanted a new deal. Well, on July 26th, the Falcons compromised with him. They front-loaded his contract, giving him nearly $3 million more. I need his agent earlier, but keeping the overall money the same. It was no coincidence that happened the same day that players reported to training camp. That's when the superstar made it clear he never lost communications and always planned to show up.
You know what I'm saying? We knew all along, like, we was going to get it handled. I talked to Mr. Blank, too, as well, yesterday, and then I had, reiterated what he had told us. I'm going to be a Falcon forever, things like that. So that's it. I mean, it's not that much to talk about as far as that. It's a lot of, it was a lot of he say, she say, this from that way, but it never came from my mouth, never came from Dan Quinn's mouth, things like that.
It was good to have Julio back. So much of the work that gets done between wide receivers and quarterbacks, it's the individual time, it's the group work, and then a little bit of 2-minute here, and then post-practice, we're devoting a little bit of time each day for the veterans to get some work in on some skills they want to go. Some days it'll be player-led, other days it'll be coach-led, but yeah, it was awesome to have him back out.
Awesome is a bit of an understatement by Quinn. Jones is everything for the Falcons offense. Even though he had a somewhat down year in his first season under the offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian, he's still considered a top 5 NFL players, and that's according to NFL players. Here's the top 5 list from the NFL Rank 2018 that dropped this offseason. According to the players, Tom Brady, Antonio Brown, and Carson Wentz are the only players better than number 11. Personally, I think Wentz is a stretch after just one good season, but you guys tend to overvalue the quarterback position, so I'll let that slide. And speaking of the signal callers, the Falcons' $150 million man, he's looking pretty good. Him connecting with Julio Jones, specifically in the red zone, could be the biggest improvement to the offense. Falcons had the 23rd ranked red zone offense last year. That's right, 23rd. Well, they have a 6'3" freak of nature wideout in Julio Jones and didn't use him enough. Ryan plans on changing that this year, and if he does, he could potentially get back to MVP level Matt Ryan. He's only a year removed from that 4,900-yard, 38 touchdown, and the highest individual award season. Ryan returns for a 2018 year, a year older, yet a year wiser. We'll talk later in the show about how Dan Quinn plans to use him this preseason. And we'll see a lot about that offense, which is pretty potent. But enough about the offense. Let's get to the gritty side of the ball. If the Dirty Birds want to contend in the NFC South, that young defense is going to need to level up. WALB News 10's John Barron got a first-hand look at how a revamped system has them on the way up.
Football is clearly in the air here at Flowery Branch, and the Falcons are getting set to take their first preseason game against the New York Jets and are ready to put their training camp work to the test. Falcons are looking to make a big impact in their first preseason game as they prepare for the regular season. The defense is implementing a new system, and head coach Dan Quinn says his players took the challenge head on.
But defensively, it was an entirely new system, and it took a lot of reps and a lot of turns for those guys to gain experience together, and it's real encouraging to see that.
Third-year linebacker Deion Jones says the team looks ready for the matchup against the Jets, and training camp so far has been a success.
Camp is always, with us, is always a grind. We're always trying to get each other better, and the matchups have been even better, this year. just competing with each other.
Jones had 91 tackles and 3 interceptions last year and will be looked to take on more of a leadership role this season. Jones says former LSU teammate Duke Riley is adjusting to the new defense and is performing well.
And Duke is coming along real well. He knows what we expect of him, and he's been going after it every day as far as everything that we asked of him, all the goals that we had set for each other.
Heading into their first preseason matchup, Jones says the team looks strong and ready.
I think we're ready. We know the style of ball that we want to put on film and the way we do things, so Friday should be fun to see guys fly around and play ball.
Dan Quinn says the competition will be strong for this season. He and his players look to take flight against the Jets to show the city and the fans that the Falcons are ready for 2018. In Flowery Branch, John Barron, WAOB News 10.
Much appreciated, John. Well, Deion Jones is heading into year 3. And as a 2017 Pro Bowler, he is a leader and a youthful one at that for this very youthful defense. Jones, at 23 years old, he's true to this, not new to this. That guy's fast, has great ball skills, and the dude is a bad brother on the rise. Now, he was 6th in the league in solo tackles last year with 91. He showed even more flashes of more to come at Flowery Branch over the past couple weeks. His growth will be huge for a defense on the rise, and he's well aware.
Well, most of us are pretty young, and I feel like all of us are on the same mission of finding different things in our game to improve on, whether it's with our health, the way we eat, and the way we prepare. So is everyone unturning every stone, and I think that the sky's the limit for us with that.
Don't forget Keanu Neal, Vic Beasley, Tack McKinley. I mean, this defense is full of young stars. It'll be fun to watch how much they've grown here in 2018. So the Jets game, that kicks off tonight right after this show, of course. But let's take a look at that full preseason schedule. They're on the road tonight, but they get a ticket to the Benz because I want you to get your ticket on August 17th. They'll be welcoming in Coffee High alum Tyreek Hill and the Kansas City Chiefs. And week 3, well, that's the one that matters the most time that starters get a lot of minutes. The Falcons will be in Saxonville playing a Super Bowl contender in the Jaguars. And then they close at home against the other team from the Sunshine State. That's August 30th, back at the Benz against those Miami Dolphins. Now, I spent all this time talking Falcons and didn't even bring up the first-round pick. I've got some awesome video of Calvin Ridley putting a move on Desmond Trufant and how Dan Quinn feels about his new weapon. So stay locked in. Coach, you got a lot of looks at Calvin Ridley at this point. What's the most impressive thing you've noticed about him now that he's out here with you guys?
I'd say like his quickness in and out of breaks.
Well, Desmond Trufant found out the hard way. Check out the move by the Rook out of Alabama and the snag. That's grown man hands right there. Great usage of the number 18 overall pick. Calvin Ridley's last football game was that national championship win over Georgia in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. He grabbed a touchdown in that one. He'll look to grab many more in the Benz now that it's his new home. Now, the last time the Falcons drafted a receiver in the first round, he went by the name of Julio Jones. Everyone at camp, including Jones, has been enamored with the poise and the play of the Rook.
Hard worker, very hard worker. He listens to everything. He wants to be great. He's not a guy who thinks he knows everything. First round of guys, guys kind of be stuck in their own ways and things like that. But he coming in to work. I love his attitude. I love his work ethic and everything about him.
He's got long speed, which is important as an outside receiver, but his ability to go full speed, stop, and break as a receiver, no doubt it's important to be able to run full speed. But this may make sense or not. It's also important how fast you can stop and plant and go. Because if a defender's on you and you guys are going down the field full speed, how fast can you transition and break a guy off?
Now, there have been 7 wide receivers drafted in the first round in the past 2 seasons. None have eclipsed 700 yards. There's no watermark the Falcons set to judge Ridley's success, but he's a great addition to a very deep wide receiver core. Speaking of, well, they lost Taylor Gabriel from last season, but they still have Mohamed Sanu, Justin Hardy, Julio Jones. I mean, Ridley and the gang have been learning from Jones all summer long. Expect this to be one of the top groups in the NFL this season. Matt Ryan, well, he has it easy. Now, where are my Dogs fans at? This one is for you. The Falcons will be starting without kicker Matt Bryant and offensive lineman Tyson Brylow for Game 1 tonight. Bryant, 43 years old, entering season 17. He's been with the Falcons for 9 years, and it's because, well, he's pretty good. He went 34 for 39 on field goals last season. That will give the rookie out of Georgia, go Dogs, David Marvin, an opportunity to shine tonight. Quinn talked about those types of opportunities for the young guys on Wednesday.
We are really looking to see, where our CT grades come out on some of the new players, and can they play in a style and fashion that we really want to. So those are some of the things. And as you know, Led, this is it's a really cool time for guys getting their first, playing experience.
Now, if you're a Dogs fan and you say, who is he? Well, Marvin sat behind Rodrigo Blankenship last year in Athens. He was a graduate student from Wofford University. That's where he set the school record for most field goals in a season with a solid 32. David Marvin isn't the only Georgia Bulldog on the roster. He's joined by D lineman Garrison Smith and wide receiver Reggie Davis. Now, Davis will be looking to prove himself amongst the powerful wide receiver core. Davis served as part of the Falcons practice squad last year after being undrafted and is looking to prove himself once again this season. Now, as for Smith, big number 93, look at him go. He's been with the Seahawks for the past 2 years. He has 14 career tackles in his short career and now is looking to make Atlanta his new home. He's got a real shot this preseason at battling for a reserve position on the defensive front, so please be on the look at that. And it's time to talk money. General Manager Thomas Dimitroff was in spending mode this summer. A look at a couple of those deals in a moment. You're watching the Falcons Preseason Special. Welcome back to the Falcons Preseason Special. I'm Theo Dorsey. Kickoff with the Jets is inching closer and closer, and nobody can be happier than this guy, Jake Matthews, who just inked a 5-year, $75 million deal, and that was on the first day of camp. Mo City, Texas, stand up. The starting left tackle protects the blind side of Matt Ryan. He was Pro Football Focus's 14th ranked tackle during the 2017 season. He's now the second highest earning tackle annually behind Tennessee's Taylor Lewan.
I think, offensive line is a special position because obviously there's 5 of you trying to complete one job, and the longer you can keep a group together and the more reps and the more they can kind of gel together, obviously you're going to have better results, and I feel like we've done a really good job out here.
The Falcons are bringing back the full starting 5 from last year's O-line. That's continuity.
It's been a long journey, man. It's been a real long journey.
Ricardo Allen had a different route to the money. Back in 2014, the Falcons cut him on Hard Knocks. Now, after 4 years in the organization, this fall, he inked a 3-year, $19.5 million extension from practice squad cornerback to starting safety. He started from the bottom. Now he's in the Brotherhood through 2021.
It wasn't just, a deal for myself. It was a deal for, everybody, whoever, has to struggle to fight from the bottom, man. It's possible to make it to the top, and it's possible if you just come with it every day and just, give it your all, man. It ain't nobody that can hold you back.
Now I want to go through 5 players to watch in 2018, and we'll start with the man who most believe will be next to get paid, and that's Grady Jarrett. The Falcons' 5th rounder out of Clemson in 2015 has turned out to be the anchor of the defensive line. His disruptive play up front will set the tone for the pass rush and the ability for the second and third levels to pin their ears back and hunt down that football. Now, some would say the pass rush and then think right to Vic Beasley, another Dabo Swinney product right here. He led the NFL in sacks in 2016, and that was the run to the Super Bowl. Beasley was down last year with a hamstring, as well as splitting time at outside linebacker, but the Falcons are putting him back at defensive end full time. Let's rejoice that and expect another double-digit sack season from number 44. And I can't believe I got this far without mentioning the backfield. Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman make up one of the best duos in the league. Expect Coleman to ball out. He'll be playing for a contract very soon. And then Freeman, that's a man who has never needed any extra motivation. The former Seminole is averaging over 11 touchdowns per game, or actually per season. Per game would be wild over the past 3 seasons. And I can't leave you without talking about Valdosta State's finest. Ryan Schrader has a great story. He was undrafted out of VSU in 2013. He earned a spot in camp like many of the undrafted players will try and do this preseason. Now he's the anchor on the right side of the offensive line. This will be his 5th season as a full-time starter at right tackle with the Brotherhood, a true success story. And I'm sure Valdosta State's at home cheering and watching him go on. Super Bowl will be at the relatively new Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta this year. Will the Falcons be representing the NFC in it come February? No team has ever played in the Super Bowl that they also played host to. Predictions and expectations, that's all after the break. Welcome back to the Falcons preseason special. I got my towel right here, a football right here, because kickoff is just minutes away. No better time than now for us to get some predictions from the WALB staff. John Barron, take it away.
Hey guys, it's John Barron here in the WALB newsroom, and we're here to get some Falcons predictions from some of the staff. And right here we have one, which is Carla Heasan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Well, tell us about your predictions for the 2018 season.
I predict that the Atlanta Falcons will be in the Super Bowl. Seeing that the Super Bowl is going to be in Atlanta this year, they've got to be. Now, I understand that there are 16 games. I don't think they're going to come out 16-0, but I do believe they're going to make it to the Super Bowl.
All right, so tell us your predictions for the 2018 season.
Well, thinking I'm brand new to Dirty Birds country and I'm not really a Falcons fan, don't hate on me, I'd have to say they're going to do great unless they play the Steelers, because we got one for the thumb.
So, Jerry, tell us about your predictions for the 2018 season for the Falcons.
Well, they will find a way to lose to New Orleans every time. They could be undefeated until they play the Saints.
So, what are your predictions for the 2018 season for the Falcons?
I predict a really good season for the Falcons, but more importantly, I predict a bad season for the Patriots.
All right, so Christian, tell us about your predictions for the 2018 season for the Falcons.
I think this is going to be a huge season of potential for the Falcons, and with the Super Bowl coming up, they have a really great opportunity to show up and show out and just make the rest of the United States teams realize that they are real contenders.
All right, so Laura, tell us about your predictions for the 2018 season for the Falcons.
I predict that they'll win more games than they lose.
All right, so what are your predictions for the 2018 season for the Falcons?
13-3, win the South, win the NFC, represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. It's all good as long as we beat Cam and the Panthers.
All right, so Hunter, tell us your predictions for the 2018 season for the Falcons.
The Falcons, they're going to win the Super Bowl.
Perfect, look at that. That's a great prediction. All right, so Austin, tell us what your predictions will be for this season.
The Falcons are definitely going to win the Super Bowl.
All right, well, you have it there. There's your WALB staff telling you the predictions for the 2018 season this season for the Falcons. We're going to send it right back in for Theo.
That was pretty awesome. I was the cameraman for that, so I got to see a lot of those predictions firsthand. And we got Steelers fans, we got people that don't like the Saints or the Patriots. I love the mix we have at WALB. But let me get to my prediction, because my prediction for the season is that Matt Ryan will start all 16 games, and that's because, well, he's done that for the past 8 seasons. Ryan has been doing it and doing it well for a long time. It's pretty historic, actually. He's the he has the 5th longest starting streak for quarterbacks all time. He's only behind Phillip Rivers when it comes to active streaks with 131 games in a row. Ryan will start tonight in the preseason against the Jets, but most like all the rest of the starters, don't expect to see much of him. Ryan is 33 years old now. That means it's time to at least have some security behind him. Quinn spoke to the importance of finding out what he has behind his former MVP. There's 4 quarterbacks on the depth chart, and we'll see a little bit from all of them tonight in New York City.
For the most part, certainly we'll get some work with both Matt Schaub and Matt Ryan in the first half. And then as it gets into the second quarter, we want to take a good look at Kurt and Garrett both. So we're hopeful. We'll see how the game plays out, but we're hopeful to get all 4 of them some meaningful reps.
Show me what you got, young fellas. Garrett Grayson is only entering his 3rd season, while Kurt Benkert is a rookie. And before I leave you, I would like to take a peek at those regular season key games. But instead of doing that, of course, I want to talk about what we have going on tonight, because it's going to be Falcons and Jets. It's going to be in the Meadowlands, and it's your first taste of the Falcons up against another team outside of what they've been doing at camp. It was 11 solid days at camp in Flowery Branch. I had a great time covering them. I got some Falcons gear here. I'm all pumped up for the season. But of course tonight, well, what I'm doing right now is just an appetizer. And you're going to get the full entree in just a few moments as the Falcons kick off the preseason